Hello, everybody. Before I upload tonight's episode of The Corner, I just wanted you all to know that in this episode I was sabotaged by my co host Alexander while recording this, as you can hear when you listen to it. This was not the intent, as the intent was to stay grounded and put up a meaningful discussion and ball throwing around the world financial crisis and the world crisis during these pandemic times. But lo and behold, that was not the result that I managed to get here. So, yeah. You really gotta excuse the poor content of this episode and that it isn't really that interesting, but nonetheless, I still wanted to upload it. And yeah, make up your own mind, folks, and please subscribe. Peace out and enjoy if you can. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of The Corner.
Yay.
Hey there, the person you can hear creeping up in the darkness there is Troy, the co-host and the guest on The Corner. So yeah, man, like what's the captain's log saying for this podcast? Well, we have like COVID-19, future financial crisis, end of COVID-19 when, and something like in these lines. And like I'll just like carry up the pace a little bit here, and I'll say like, what's all this about? Well, it's been now over a year and 3 months with COVID-19. And like we remember in the beginning, when it was like almost full-blown panic, and it was like talk about vaccination, Johnny be gone virus kind of thing, right? And this is like starting.
Yeah.
This is like starting now to pick up. But what I wanted to get in about, like it's not so much about the vaccine, because the vaccination process is going to take time no matter what. The only ones that have mattered, the only ones who have managed to vaccinate the most is Abu Dhabi, Israel. I think like Israel is like up to having vaccinated 95% of their population, which is by the way freaking crazy when you think that that's a country with nearly 10 million inhabitants. And
Yeah, one thing on this note, though, if I may interject here for a second. One thing you gotta note, though, with these Middle Eastern countries, especially if you're talking about Dubai, their vaccination methods are, in some cases, way below the standards of Western countries. Like, especially in the case of Dubai, I heard that they merely just take a nose swab, and they actually just take one of these sticks, just quickly swab your nose, and then say, "Nope, you don't have COVID." Which is just like, yeah, of course, then you're gonna have a big number of vaccinated people if that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, in some cases you won't be really the numbers aren't really credible.
I do think the numbers are credible when we talk Israel, though, because like when you read about the logistic process behind the vaccination and how it's being administered in Israel, it seems to be pretty kosher, no pun intended. But yeah, like I get what you're saying, that like you can't trust the numbers fully out. But then you also have England, and the reason why these countries are ahead by so many points is that they are not going through an organ like the European Union to get the vaccination. They're just going straight to the freaking source and being like, yep, cash on the table, vaccines, please. While here we have to go through the European Union, and they have to order the vaccines, and they have to distribute the vaccines to the rest of Europe, which is not only the European Union, because Norway is also on this, like vaccination plan with the EU. So that's why that's why it takes a little longer. England, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Israel, they went directly to the source and cash on the table, right? Because they saw that as the most effective way to get the people vaccinated. And I don't know, like, would you say that that's wrong? I mean, you want a product,
no.
you want a product fast, you go directly to the source. But
it seems to be working.
So,
but of course, I don't have the complete picture.
No, okay.
So,
okay.
So I'm not I'm not entitled to make accusations here.
And also, like these vaccination numbers, they are like with one shot, right? And as the current COVID-19 vaccine is, you need 2 shots to be like completely protected against the virus, right? So I don't know, like, but that's what they have like chosen to do. They have just chosen to vaccinate the entire population with 1 shot, right? To minimize the risk of a smaller outbreak happening in the country. While what you're risking by doing it, though, is that you might contract COVID-19 while you have like gotten this 1 shot, and the virus may once again mutate and become immune to the vaccine. Like, that's the worst case scenario. Not that we have seen it happening yet, though, as they all still seem to hold firm through the British mutation and the South African mutation of the virus. But yeah, man, like I wanted to get in like a little bit, because now that we're getting closer to the dust settling on this, I'm not saying that the dust is going to settle on the COVID-19 pandemic tomorrow, but maybe in a year or 2023 we'll see the end of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, in 2023, according to the latest prognosis.
Yeah, like of course, like it will die down a lot by then, but that's when we're truly going to see the end. I'm sure of that. But yeah, man.
I'm sorry, the latest forecast.
The latest forecast, yeah. But hey, man, like, what's the ramifications going to be from this? Do you think we will end up in a new financial crisis?
I really don't have enough information to talk about that. I don't think so.
I'll say that some experts.
I don't know if you have that either. Actually,
yes. Some experts are predicting that we will see like a huge financial crisis of this, right?
What experts?
Experts from Goldman Sachs, for one, and like a few other big banks, and then from these media outlet times, Financial Times and such, right? But like, here's the thing, like, like I don't believe it. I don't believe that we're going to see a financial crisis spinning out of this, and you know why? It is because
enlighten.
Because the financial instruments and the stock indexes of the world is, for one, it's like 100-fold larger, if not more, than what they were in the 1930s, right? So we're like seeing companies 100 times bigger. You're having big ass companies like Apple with a market cap of an astronomical $2 trillion, along with Google that following tightly after, and like they have like this massive economy, right? That is it's more money going around in these companies than it is in small countries like Denmark and yeah, it's more money flying around than the national budget
$10 trillion
of Denmark. And like the point is that they have gotten so strong that I don't think that it's going to impact the economy, because like these are the heavyweighters that are carrying the American economy, right? And we like saw a small dip in the financial market when the Corona crisis initially happened or reached the West last year. We saw like a couple of points drop in March, but it picked right back up. It was like a really
$900,000 million.
Okay, man, you might come down from your kite now. So yeah, man, like I don't think that it's going to have that huge of an impact. And like the basis, like for these experts saying that we might see one, is for instance how America is like in the crisis now of maybe 40 million more Americans that's going to be homeless by the end of April. Because then
I think it's more like 60 million, right? 60 million. That sounds better. Sounds so much better.
Yeah, well, it would be like
60
50
or 69.
It will be
$69 million.
50 million homeless people, maybe. But like, here's the thing, man. Like the market.
Heck, let's make it $669 million. $669 million, guys.
Troy, I'd like you to stay grounded and let me get my air to talk here, please.
You are getting nothing but there. I'm just saying buzzwords that relate to money, because that's what people seem to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
As long as that was my point here. As long as you say dollars or money, then people pay attention. I think that seems to be your premise with this podcast.
I'll get back on track now if I can get my air. So, what's going to happen is
I don't know, man, because I'm just not seeing a lot of sources here that back all this up.
I could put sources in here.
I could be talking. I could be talking about this too. We got this billionaire called Ravish Tarandi from India, who was brought up in the poor upbringing, but now he's a self-made man who has made it to the state of Washington, where he has built his financial empire, which is called Fluxing deals.
All
and
right.
They recently on the New York Stock Exchange, they made a 5.5% increase, and that is despite the COVID crisis, actually, and despite the vaccines, and they're actually doing quite good. So Ravish Naida, he really does not care about the corona crisis, and he actually doesn't think that anything is going to happen with regards to a financial crisis that we talked about earlier. Do I have any sources to back this up? Nah, not really, but it's my take, and it's a free country, and I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you guys will believe it.
Okay, man. I'm all coming up with sources on Discord, and I am staying grounded, and like my hyped up partner over there.
So am I.
But yeah, man. Like according to these articles, which is from Reuters and Forbes, the one from Reuters is older, so that one states 21.5 billion in back rent. But the real number is closer to 50 now, and the estimation by Forbes is that we might reach it as high as $70 billion in back rent. And what that means is that and hey, man, you can see that Forbes is saying that hey, it's not a big problem for the economy as a whole, despite the scary numbers. And I tend to I do agree with them.
I do want to point out though that if I hadn't if I hadn't made up this fictional story about this Indian guy just on the spot right here, we wouldn't have received these two sources from Forbes and Reuters. So these sources are on my cap here.
Well, okay, thank you for that. So yeah, man, like that.
Of course.
So yeah, the question is, could this be enough to spike financial crisis in the U.S.? And I don't think so. I mean, we are up on $50 billion being owed in back rent now, and a lot of house owners struggling. You know, like these are the house owners that is owning the houses that they rent to people in the U.S. And you know, what surprised me though, I will find a source for that too, if that is.
Yeah, these are actually the kind of things that one should have done before the podcast.
Well, Joe
if I
Rogan,
may be so bold as
Rogan,
the co-host
Joe
here.
Rogan
But,
does it. Joe Rogan and Jamie does it during the podcast, so I don't see the problem with it. But the thing is that, and you can Google that, anyone that's like watching this, and that 50% of the rental market in America is owned by small folks, right? Like you and me.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just not too invested in this kind of financial bullshit.
Well,
because it's always the same. There's nothing new in it, and like I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong guest to have on for this topic.
Well,
but to me, it's all
Troy,
just nonsense and blah blah blah. There's no substance in it. It's just fucking money, more numbers. There's just 50 million, 60 million. Who gives a fuck?
Holy shit, man. Like, if you want to, you can just sit the fuck back and let me do all the talk. It's not a problem.
Yeah, but what's the fun? Right. What's the fun in listening to that podcast?
All I want is my air, because like I still think that it is irrelevant to explain to anyone listening to this, which is what's going on. And I will also link the description of the report that I firmly agree with from J.P. Morgan, stating that what the
So are you? So why wouldn't you just like make an episode where you just sit and read financial news then?
Well, I could, but that wouldn't be as fun, as I like to have someone to spar with, even though my choice is you.
But why didn't you pick someone else then for this particular episode? Because
everybody seems to be ghosting me at the moment. I had a podcast coming up where I was going to do this podcast with a dude from Seattle about Sopranos. He never showed up and got back. I was going to do a podcast about world economics with a dude from Norway. He never showed up. So no, man, like we are now 17 minutes in, and I have just realized I'm already shit bored of this fucking topic. Wow. So I really apologize to anyone who has already come I'm really going to be going to be an asshole when we do the next recording of the Scandinavian Corner. Not a problem, man.
Yeah,
not a problem, man. So because no matter what, if I was bored by the subject you were speaking about, I would still give you the time of day. I would still give you the air to talk about it. I would still not sabotage your fucking podcast. But you're sabotaging this right now by acting like a douchebag.
Maybe, but if you like, I don't know, man. No. But like, there are a multitude of subjects that we have discussed before that we've been both interested in, and you know my stance on the financial fucking market, and even and that's why I wanted to fucking do this this pre-hand preparation so that we could figure out if if this was going to turn out as some fucking financial rant from you just fucking ranting for 10-20 minutes on it.
It's not going to turn into a financial rant.
Yes, it did. It already fucking turned into 5 minutes of you sitting there ranting about financial and the stock market and shit. And I ain't going to fucking do that. I'm fucking out.
If
I'm fucking out.
If anyone, wow, you're leaving in the middle of the recording. Holy shit, man, that's a new level.
I'm just out. No, I'm still recording. To
any one of you who are listening to this, I'd like to give me your opinion in the comment section below on who do you think was the most comfortable listening to during this podcast. Was it me or was it my co-host Alexander?
We're not even going to get any comments on
this. I'm staying positive, and I still say that that I'm making this podcast because I like it.
Because nobody's going to want to listen through 20 minutes of us arguing just to get to that question that you just asked.
Actually, I'm not arguing with you. I'm letting you, you want to have some air, just say that you want some air. And now I'm saying that I want some air to finish up for the last 10 minutes that we're recording this.
Can I just shut down my recording then and let you speak then?
Yeah, just end yours since you don't care about this anyway.
I'll play some Red Dead in the meantime.
Yeah. So, what we're going to see in the future is that the tourism sector and the restaurant sector are the ones that is going to take the biggest hit during the corona crisis, and travel agencies, but eventually it will pick back up. So what we're going to see is maybe a dip in the SP 500 index down to 15-16% this year, but then it will pick right back up to 24% and correct itself again in 2022 and again in 2023. So yeah, I felt I don't know, guys. I kind of like to speak about these kinds of things, but it is difficult to find people who are like-minded and want to come on the air and talk about the same kind of things. So for anyone that's interested in this, I have actually tried a Discord forum. I have. But none of them really wants to go on the air. And financial Discord forums are heavily against you promoting anything on their channels. All they want to do is discuss the financial markets and the stocks. They don't want to give out any names. They don't want to. I don't know, they don't want to surface because they're afraid of the IRS and they're all paranoid AF. Why? I don't know, because they don't have billions of dollars in offshore accounts. That's that, right? So I'm kind of stuck. This is an appeal to anyone that might listen to this that is actually interested in the financial instruments and markets of the world to contact me. I'll put my Discord tag in the description, and you can add me on Discord, and you can just DM me, direct message me, anytime, any day, any night, anytime. So what else was I going to say? So I guess that's pretty much it. And then we're all just hoping that we'll see an end on this COVID-19 crisis, and that the vaccines are finally coming and everything is going back to how it used to be the day after tomorrow. Oh man, almost going on for 30 minutes here. I am really glad that anyone is here listening, if they are still listening, even though it's just me talking and my co-host has abandoned me after sabotaging half the podcast. But it's fine. I'm going to keep on fighting. I got thick skin, and I I got things. I won't let things like this get to me. No way, Jose. So I'm still going to fight, and I'm going to crawl out of that ditch. Yeah. Maybe, but like still, like, but still, like how I feel about the podcast things is that you kind of miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? Because you haven't even given it an attempt. So if I didn't give this podcast episode a shot, then I would have missed it, right? So whether or not it's good or bad, it doesn't really matter because I gave it a shot. I did the recording and I uploaded it, right? So, well, are you still recording? No, I'm not going to end it before we hit the 30-minute mark in like 5 minutes. You see, yeah, they're going to think that I'm schizophrenic because Alexander, that like sabotaged the podcast, kind of like left and hung up on his end, and then he. But I'm still here, and I wanted to end the podcast with like a couple of famous quotes of all times. Number one that I find interesting is one by Mr. Franklin D. Roosevelt, who said, "When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hang on." Which is kind of like interesting because that if you're a metaphor for that, no matter how far, no matter how deep down you get, you can always climb back out, right? So he's saying that you can always just tie a knot on the end of the rope and hang on and climb out, right? Another interesting quote is by Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." A very profound quote, because it's kind of like referring to, as I interpret it, that you should never let your dreams go and you should always cherish them and chase it. Yeah, I still think I can do like another couple of quotes before we end the 30-minute mark here. Let's see if I can find one that is... yes, here is one. Two more. One is by Nelson Mandela, who said, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." A very, very good quote. And a very good precedent. Rest in peace, Nelson. Like this dude, he did like 30 years in a South African prison. And then they made him president because he never faltered to stop believing in what he believed in. He always believed. Last quote of the day, folks, by Abe Lincoln. "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years." Interesting. So it's not about... Interesting quote, for sure. So he's kind of like saying that that it's not how many years you have lived that counts. It's about how you lived those years and what you did, which kind of like refer to a lot. But how I interpret it is that you should take some time to cherish yourself a little bit too, and not only chase the goddamn money, not chase the big cars, not chase the big houses, because that's not you, right? It's not life. That's just a chase. So yeah, so take a breather, everyone, and stop. And think a little bit about what you're doing. because I see this like at my job all the time, like that kind of like maybe goes for me too when I think about it. But I see this like on my work all the time, like people fapping for the money, for the overtime, for the weekends, and like and I'm like sitting there and like I'm thinking that it's not worth it. It's not worth it because in the end, it is just that. It's just a job. And you sure as hell don't want to die when you're 80 thinking that like, I was never home with my family or anything, but I sure did make a lot of coin working all them hours at the factory. That's kind of like an empty life if you ask me. So yeah, people, take your time, think, travel, experience, of course, with like all precautions in taking consideration, like face masks and disinfectants during these COVID-19 times, which we will hopefully see an end to soon. Like, share, and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it, and drop a comment below. And as mentioned before, just let me know if you want to be a guest by commenting or anything. We will get in touch. Thank you all for listening. This is Captain Patrick, out.